Luigi Mangione. We thought this case was closed. We, the common people. Looked like the guy murdered the head of the CEO of UnitedHealth. We've got multiple cameras showing him doing it, allegedly. Looked like it. And now, RJ, crazy turn of events. The defense is arguing in this suppression hearing that the jury should not know what was found along with Mangione when he was arrested. That means if you're a jury member, you're going to be told, hey, this guy was in McDonald's. All right, well, what did he have with him? You're not going to know. Did he have a backpack? Yes. Was there a 9mm in the backpack? Can't tell you. It's irrelevant to this case. Was there any other incriminating evidence, like a note, some kind of manifesto, maybe whatever else, anything that seems like he might be the murderer here? We can't tell you, jury. It's irrelevant. How does this happen? How are we looking at suppressing this evidence?
Well, it happens when you get inexperienced Keystone cops in Altoona, Pennsylvania that don't know what the hell they're doing and never heard of Terry v. Ohio, never heard of Mirandizing anybody. And, you do things off the cuff. That's what you get. And that's what happened in this case. These foolish officers, let's call them fools, never Mirandized this person who was the most notorious murderer in America at the time. Mangione, as they say in Italy, Italian.
Mangione.
And he was supposed to get Mirandized, but the cops just started lying, in my opinion, about the reason why they didn't Mirandize him. I'll give you an example. One of the cops said, well, we were really concerned about his backpack because we thought it had a bomb. Okay. Officer so-and-so, did you call a bomb squad? Did you clear the McDonald's?
Right.
Did you put the bag far away? No. You know what you did? You put it in your trunk. You know why? Because you're a liar.
You didn't think that was a bomb.
You didn't think there was a bomb.
Got it.
You're a liar.
The mental state of the cop.
Yeah, you're a liar. Let's just call it what it is. And you're trying to cover up the violation of somebody's rights, okay? And you started asking him questions. He didn't commit any crime when you asked him to pull down the mask. Let me see your face. Okay? So at this point, he hasn't committed a crime. They have no right to go inside his bag and start searching until the arrest. If he was arrested for the false ID that he says his name is Mark so-and-so, then at that point in time, he would have committed a crime. At that point in time, they should have got a warrant for his arrest, because the only way you could search something, the government has no right to go inside your pockets unless they have exigent circumstance, which is an emergency. We'll talk about that with the bomb. Or if there's another exception, like a search incident to arrest. Okay, you arrest somebody and then you're like, okay, what do you got on your person? Aha, it's there. And then there's something called a good faith exception. We're going to get it anyway. At some point, we were going to get it.
Okay.
But hold on. Here's the thing. With the first one, when they're asking him about, what's your name and stuff like that, they had no right to go inside his bag. And as soon as you go inside the bag without the warrant, you could throw all that evidence out. The jury doesn't need to hear that because you violated that guy's rights. And what's the recourse for that? Violating means that evidence gets suppressed. What you said was like the jury doesn't get to hear about that, but the jury's never going to know about that.
They're not going to know.
They're not going to know.
Let's set the stage of what we're talking about, just to bring people in.
Yeah.
Allegedly, Luigi Mangione,
the pasta guy,
murdered Brian Thompson, head of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
Yeah.
And then there was a manhunt. We didn't know who this guy was. We had some images of a guy on a bike, early morning, New York City, shooting him in the back and then fleeing. Somewhere in Altoona, Pennsylvania, police get a call. What's the call?
They said they had somebody inside the McDonald's that was manager saying that the people were upset because the person in the back looked like the suspect that was shot, that was captured on the videos regarding Brian Thompson.
Officers are sitting in Altoona. They get the call. We need you here in McDonald's. They show up in McDonald's.
Yep.
There's a kid sitting in the corner
like
with
5 officers
with a beanie on.
Or 6, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Pulled down pretty low.
Right.
A mask as well?
Yes.
A backpack?
Yes.
And some other items?
Yes. I think
5 or so officers approach this young man.
Yes.
And this is critical. This is critical because here in the U.S., I mean, we have so much protection as citizens against law enforcement. We are so well protected by the Constitution.
Sure.
We have Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful search and seizure. So the police officers need to be trained on this. They need to know that whatever they're doing in approaching the suspect, because he's innocent until proven guilty, he's just sitting there having a burger at McDonald's, whatever they do now in approaching this young man is governed by the Fourth Amendment of our Constitution. So they better be aware, like, we got to take all the right steps. So somehow, however they mishandled the situation, they approached, they questioned Mangione, they arrested him, they took him into custody, they searched stuff. We're in a situation now where the defense is saying, hey, you guys violated his Fourth Amendment rights during that interaction. And a result of that, because of fruit of the poisonous tree, all of that evidence now is not going to get to the jury. So tell us, how did they screw up this police? What is it they didn't do? How should they have approached him? God, we're so protected as citizens, and I want people at home to appreciate how much the Fourth Amendment and the Constitution and other paragraphs of the Constitution protect you against the law and against law enforcement. So what is it? How did these police screw up? Because you would think everything he had with him should be part of the evidence of whether he's the killer or not. But because of some missteps, we may not get to see some of the evidence as the jury.
Yeah, some of that evidence is the gun.
But what was the interaction?
The interaction is that the cops came there and basically...
What did they do wrong?
Well, they supposed to read the Miranda rights and get a search warrant.
But I mean, okay, so he's sitting there. People are complaining.
So if I walk up to you and I think you killed somebody, all right, I have to have an articulate suspicion that a crime occurred, which we have. Because they saw supposedly the eyebrows. The cop said, I'm 100% sure it's him.
There was photos floating around.
So they ID'd him. That's enough. So they have enough to arrest him.
So they think...
They could arrest him.
So they're saying, you're that guy. We're going to arrest you.
That's fine. You could arrest him.
What does that mean?
That means you put him in handcuffs. You put your hands behind your back. They put you in a car.
What do they say to you?
Nothing. They put you in a car and they take you away.
They don't read you your rights?
Only if they're going to ask you questions. So you need two things. You need custody and interrogation, or what they call custodial interrogation. So watch this. I'm going to give everybody an example. If they walked up to Mangione in a basketball court, he was playing basketball with his mask and is shooting hoops, and they just came, and just one person came up and said, can I ask you some questions, Luigi? He said, you're free to leave. And he said, okay, sure. And then he spoke to him. Luigi then can't say, I didn't feel free to leave, because he had the whole park. He could leave. Follow me. Just one person.
He's not contained. He's
not contained. He's walking around. He's like, yeah, I'll talk to you.
He's not in custody in any way.
Okay, that's exactly right. He doesn't feel detained. Right. Like he's not enclosed. Here in Altoona, he's all the way in the back of McDonald's, in the corner, literally. It looks like a jail, by the way, jail interrogation.
But I mean, that's the architecture of the McDonald's.
Right. It looks like a jail interrogation, combined with the fact that they corner him in the corner, so Mangione cannot leave.
Hold on. The actual physical restaurant layout matters to this decision?
Well, it matters only because he couldn't leave.
He's cornered. Like
he's
there's
cornered.
A wall here, a wall there.
Right.
Cornered.
Right. If it was just like outside of McDonald's,
on the
playground.
That's fascinating.
And he's like talking to him. He's like, you could go right now. Right. And if Mangione walked away, there'd be a different story. He doesn't have to talk to them.
Right. So here he's walled in by the McDonald's.
He's compelled, almost compelled as a citizen to do what they say.
Right.
Lower your mask. Let me see. He has no choice. He's detained. In essence, he's detained.
Like if it was me and I didn't know what was going on, a casual guy sitting there eating, and 5 police officers approach and kind of corner me, and they're like, we need you to remove your mask. I probably would just comply.
Of course you would.
But you're saying that's a little bit violating my Fourth Amendment rights?
I'm saying that, no, not that part.
Not that part, yeah.
Not that part, yeah.
Okay.
They have a right to.
We're getting there.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that they have a right to investigate, but once they reach that level of knowing they got a murder, they have to do protocols. So if he has a bomb inside there, they just can't open the suitcase.
But let's go step by step. So far, they've asked him to lower his mask.
Yeah.
You're still cool with that?
He didn't have to comply, but if he didn't have to do that, I would have been like, I'm not lowering my mask. What are you going to do about that?
He could have said that.
Yeah. Or he could just looked at them and said, I'm not doing it.
And what would they do in that case?
Nothing. It could be stonewalling.
But what would they really have to do in that scenario?
That's an interesting scenario. They'd have to identify him.
Yeah.
They'd have to identify him.
Well, then they'd have to say, look, since you're not identifying yourself as an officer of the law asked you to, you are required to identify yourself when an officer.
Yeah, and he did. He said, my name is Mark so-and-so.
Okay, well, we don't believe you. We think you're lying, so we're going to detain you while we find out.
They could detain, and they could run a background check, and they could arrest him at that point in time, and they could give him a felony for false ID.
Okay, but he complied.
He complied.
He said, here's my mask.
Yep.
And then they said, what's your name? And he gave a fake name. But they don't know that's fake.
So far, no crime.
You
could give a cop fake name as long as you don't give fake ID. So far, not federal government.
What?
State. Yeah, I'm not producing anything.
You could give a cop a fake
name. I could tell my name is Bob. Yeah, it's not a crime. You could
even though you're lying because your name is not Bob.
I'm not furnishing. Well, I could tell him anything. I could tell him my name is Anastasia. I could tell him my name is Michael Jackson.
I go by Anastasia.
I go by Michael Jackson. What's it to you?
Right.
Like my name is the red hopper.
You're asking for trouble at that point, but you're gonna get it from the cops.
Yeah.
Okay, so he answered.
Sure. Yes, you're right. You'll get trouble, but you could dodge. You could be coy, and you could be crazy like a fox.
But let's go step by step.
Yeah.
This is fascinating for people who are law geeks at home. Or I think it's incredible. Like, at what point does the Fourth Amendment protection kick in? So far they've asked him to lower his mask. He did. They asked him his name. He gave it, even though it's fake.
Right.
No crime yet.
Right.
What happens next?
Then they have to raise articulate suspicion that he committed the crime. They could run a background on his license and see if it matches with the photos of him in the taxi cab in front of the hotel on 5th Street or whatever it was, 55th Street. And they match it, and that would be enough to arrest him. And then you get a search warrant to go in the bag, and then it would be legal.
What did they do?
They opened the bag.
But did they handcuff him first and stand him up?
I don't remember the protocol if they handcuffed him.
I think from reading into it that it was a major problem that he was handcuffed. In essence, he wasn't a threat to them anymore because he was contained, right? And then they started searching his bag.
So if he's handcuffed, then obviously he's detained.
Right.
But if he's not,
he's not a physical threat to anybody.
But he doesn't need to be handcuffed. My argument is he's already detained by 5 cops
cornering
him
you're
in the back of the McDonald's, which looks like he's cornered.
Right.
There's no argument.
But on top of that, they did put cuffs on him too.
Okay.
So even worse.
Even worse. So at that point, and I know the cops knew they messed up because one of them covered their body cam and they said maybe we should read the Miranda rights. Why would the cop do that if he didn't think he messed up? Why would he block the body cam and say maybe we should read the Miranda rights? Because they messed up. They should have read the Miranda rights.
Was it too late to read at that point?
Well, it might be too late because that's why he did that. He realized it was too late. He was like, I think we screwed up here.
Nobody out of all the police officers thought to just read the guy their rights when they're going to arrest him?
Altoona. They're probably chasing cats up trees in Altoona. They probably have a garden hose thefts. They don't have crime in Altoona.
Do you know
these
that
cops probably didn't give traffic tickets, I'm sure.
Do you know we have a big audience in Altoona?
Let them not listen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We might.
Well,
I'm sure there's people in Altoona.
I'm not saying anything
sure it's a great town.
I'm not saying anything bad about the people of Altoona. I'm saying they have Keystone cops in Altoona because they don't know what they're doing. When you have a very important person, a nationally notorious person that killed somebody, you have to act like a cop, not like you went to high school and you took a civics class and winging it.
So they were that unprofessional?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't go inside the bag. You can't go inside somebody's bag without a warrant.
So they got the guy up. They're like, we think we got the kid. Cuff him. Put him in the corner.
Yeah, let's go in his bag.
And then that was the offense? It's just somebody goes, he's got a backpack. And really...
Well, not only
just the fact that the cop looked in that backpack, that's already a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Not only that, but how about the lie on top of it? The justification for going in a backpack, which is a lie. I thought he had a bomb. If you had a bomb, would anybody in their right mind open up a backpack in a McDonald's? And people are coming out of the bathroom in the video while they're going through the alleged bomb packet. Why would they do that if there's a bomb? Why would they put that inside the trunk if there was a bomb? Why didn't they call a bomb squad? They're just making an excuse up.
It doesn't meet the bullshit detection test that you thought there was actually a bomb.
They lied.
But what is that standard? It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. Is it more likely than not? Is it a probable cause?
Yeah. So the hearing that they're going to have, a suppression hearing, is clear and convincing evidence.
When a police officer's got the guy arrested and he's looking at the backpack, what does that police officer need to believe to be able to open the backpack? First of all, could he just say, is it okay if we look in your backpack? Could he have asked him?
Yes, but you need to give consent.
So, but Mangione would not have said yes.
No.
He would have
not
said
yes.
he would have said, I don't know,
Right.
or no, or
right. I think he actually said something. Mangione did say something. He said, "Is this lawful?"
What? So the police officers have him detained.
Yes.
Have they said you're under arrest?
At that point, no.
Just detained.
Yes.
Which we know is different.
Detained means you can't go. They have to. They can ask you questions. You're there to stay.
But you're
can't go
not
anywhere.
charged with a crime.
Arrest is when they actually
Charge you.
put handcuffs on you and they charge you with a crime.
Well, they could detain you with cuffs too.
Yes, but they have to let you go at some point unless they charge you with a crime.
Got it.
So detainment is temporary until it becomes an arrest.
Did they charge him with anything?
Yes, they charge.
Not later, but in that moment in Altoona in the McDonald's, did they put him in the squad car and take him back to headquarters? I'm just it's boggling my mind like how these guys screwed it up.
So Luigi was arrested originally for forgery and providing false identification to the police after giving him a fake driver license with the name Mark Rosario on it.
Okay, so he was arrested for that,
Yeah.
essentially lying, deceiving police
Right,
officers.
exactly.
And then you're put in the squad car, taken to headquarters.
Yeah.
And your backpack is then at that moment should not be looked through.
Until you get a warrant.
So the right move, they could possess the backpack.
Well,
they could have grabbed the backpack, but they shouldn't have searched.
There's something called search incident to arrest, which means that when you're doing inventory, you could actually go through it and say, listen, this was a search incident to arrest. That's actually a exception. They should have done that.
Well,
Absolutely.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but they didn't do that. They rushed. And that's
So they should have just waited a few
Yes.
minutes?
a few minutes. How about like an hour? They could have got an arrest warrant for digital arrest warrant from a judge. They could have went outside in their car and they could have gotten a search warrant, excuse me.
A search warrant. But
Yeah.
I mean, but incident to arrest. You can't search the guy's bag when you just arrested him and you're about to put him in the car?
You can.
Because you're going to take that bag with you. You can't know what's inside. I feel like this is too liberal.
So essentially, this is the core dispute regarding the incident to arrest. Mangione's lawyers are basically contending the search of his backpack in Pennsylvania at the McDonald's after his arrest was unconstitutional because the police did not have a search warrant at the time. They argue that once Mangione was handcuffed and separated from his backpack, there was no immediate threat or possibility that he could access the weapon or destroy evidence. So this negates, in their opinion, the search incident to arrest exception to the warrant.
Got it. So a search incident to arrest is only allowed when there's some kind of immediate threat of either ruining evidence or hurting somebody, something that would be negate the law or lawfulness of the scenario. So yeah, you need that immediate threat, and that wasn't there. They're like, no, dude, the dude's in cuffs. Yeah. The backpack's on the table. Nobody's worried. Just grab the bag. You don't need to look inside it. Just take it to headquarters. We'll figure it out later. So the right move would have been they could confiscate, but they shouldn't have looked in it.
Well, the prosecutors are saying that they maintain the search warrant was lawful under the Pennsylvania law because they argue that the officers had a right to search a suspect and their immediate belongings for safety reasons.
Well, yeah.
As a standard procedure when an arrest is made.
Yeah.
And they were concerned about the backpack, which may be dangerous as a bomb, but I call bullshit.
Yeah. So let's put ourselves in the scenario. There's a young man. 5 of us are police officers. We get in there, no ruckus. He's peacefully sitting there. No one seems concerned. He's not threatening anybody. He's just quietly trying to stay out under the radar.
He's eating actually a very interesting steak McGriddle. How come we don't have that here? Steak with eggs. They have it in Pennsylvania.
Yo, bring that to California.
They don't bring the steak McGriddle.
Why do you hate us? Take my money.
Sounds excellent.
So 5 of us come in, surround the guy without incident, take him into custody, put him in handcuffs, put him in the car, and now he's got some stuff, a hat, a backpack, some shit. We're looking at the backpack. This is the question. Are we now looking at that backpack and fearing in any way? Like, I'm afraid of that backpack. Probably not. We're like, no, dude, the guy didn't even know we were coming. He was casually sitting with the backpack. Doesn't seem like there's an explosive in it. I guess that's really the crux of this issue was it reasonable for the police officers to feel any kind of immediate threat?
No.
From the backpack.
There was not,
and that would be the only scenario in which they could then unzip
Not
it.
from my point of view. There isn't. But, what's legally correct and what a judge will do is 2 different things. So legally in law school, I'd say this has to be suppressed. But is the judge really going to do that in real life? Is they going to suppress it? Or is the judge going to kick the can down the road and let the attorneys just worry about it on appeal?
Well, then the conviction could get overturned, and then it'd be a worse scenario. The guy could be set free.
Well, after years and years of waiting in jail.
But I mean, that federal judge will look bad if he didn't catch a Fourth Amendment.
You think a federal judge cares about the way he looks? They're lifetime appointees. Do you think they care?
That's a good question. I don't know.
No.
I mean, but are they going to really be that sort of like? Are they going to just violate the Fourth Amendment that easily? I mean, a judge and the Constitution, these are like interlinked. Like the judge is always going to be looking out. Am I crazy? Or are they always going to be looking out for Fourth Amendment violations? It's like the bread and butter of criminal prosecution.
Now you're asking a personal question. So if you ask me, should the judge do that? Yes, of course, the judge should do the right thing. Do judges do the right thing? No, they don't do the right thing. Why? Political reasons. They don't want to be on the news tomorrow for the judge being known as the judge that let all the evidence go.
Right. A lot of the evidence is in that back. Let's talk about what's in the backpack.
I'll tell you right now.
Here's what's at stake, everybody at home. If the defense wins, everything in the backpack
is gone.
Is not in the case.
Yeah.
It is suppressed. It means the jury will never know that there was anything in the backpack.
Which makes it a good case because all you have...
You could win that case.
Yeah. I mean, all you have is like timeline of him jumping from the bike to the cab, and that's it. There's no gun. There's no bullets.
Dude's going free. If you tell me there was, if you don't tell me anything about what's in the backpack.
I don't know about free, but I'm telling you, God, it gets a lot better.
Okay, so what's
because he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar with this.
What's in the cookie jar?
All right, the cookie jar has a 9mm handgun and a loaded magazine.
Okay,
has a silencer.
Okay, and there was a silencer used in the crime.
Yes. And then red notebook containing writings about the alleged intent to whack a health insurance executive.
Holy moly.
He has self-incriminating evidence and statements such as that he was not properly read his Miranda rights before he was taken into custody. And he wants all of those statements, everything that he said at McDonald's thrown out.
Dude, the
power. This is like the big bag. If I had a big bag right here, all right, if I had a big circle of evidence inside here, all right, that's like taking 90% of the shit out and leaving you like one coin or like a little rock of evidence. Like,
right.
That's the evidence right there. That's all I got.
Imagine you're the prosecutor and you walk into my office and I go, good news, bad news. We caught him. Good news. We caught the guy with the 9mm, the silencer, a written manifesto talking about wanting to kill an insurance company CEO. Bad news, you can't use any of that.
Yeah.
You can't use any of that. And the prosecutor's like, what can I use? Well, he's got bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
He was on a bike. Come on, man, do your job. He was on a bike.
Yeah.
You tell me I can't use the fact that he was in McDonald's with the gun and the silencer and a written manifesto. This is
the smoking gun.
This is the power
I
of the constitutional protections that we have as citizens and that Luigi has.
Well,
we cannot trample these protections if we do.
I don't think so, and I think they should suppress it, and I think it's Altoona's fault, and I'm sure the federal government is pissed off at Altoona too because this is not how the feds would do it. The feds would do it right. They're like surgeons. These guys are like Keystone cops. They're clowns, all right? They're just like cat chasers, or garden hose thief chasers. These aren't real cops. They don't deal with like serial murders and when they say New York police finest, we're not going to say Altoona's finest. There's no finest. Like New York police deal with serious shit all the time. They do surgery on the streets all the time. These cops didn't know what they were doing, obviously, because the guy's blocking his body cam saying, should we read the Miranda to them? I mean, how stupid is that?
It could have been one police officer that's
fine.
It could have been one. I don't want to. Let's be careful with Altoona because, listen, I'm a fan of police officers.
I am too.
I know you are. I mean,
and by the way, I'm a former volunteer police officer in New York.
It's an incredibly difficult job, and we know. I don't need to read the entire thing here, but it could have been just one person that screwed up, and everybody else in Altoona might have done their job perfectly, to code, and they might have followed every bullet point laid out in the law. I just don't know.
Yeah, you're right. But
somebody screwed up royally, though, to put all of us as citizens of the U.S. are at a deficit now because the clear killer here might have all of the evidence suppressed.
Well, careful. You're finding him guilty when you say clear killer.
I could be wrong.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Right. So
I
careful.
totally could be wrong.
So it's most probably him. He is a suspect,
But the
it
guy,
hasn't proven yet.
no, but I agree. He's not proven to be the killer.
Yeah.
But the guy who did factually have a gun, a silencer, and a manifesto now may get those 3 pieces of evidence suppressed.
Right.
That is, I think that flies in the face of common sense. It flies in the face of justice. It flies in the face of legal jurisprudence. However, that's the power of the Fourth Amendment protection that we have. And I get it. I get the trade-off. It's trying to protect all of us from police misaction.
It's the key is unreasonable search and seizure. Not reasonable, but unreasonable. So whatever a cop does to you to violate your rights, it's got to be unreasonable. So let me give you another example. I had a guy that got pulled over for transporting cocaine from California to Kansas. He got pulled over in Beaver County, Utah. I represented him. It was like 40 kilos of coke. He's probably listening to this and saying, I can't believe you're talking about my case, but I'm not mentioning his name. They searched his car for freaking 2.5 hours.
Thank you for not mentioning my name, by the way.
They searched his car for 2.5 hours.
I don't do coke.
And they didn't find anything. But then they got the dogs to come after 2.5 hours, and they found a secret compartment in his speakers. Yet special speakers that were fake speakers with coke in it.
Okay.
And the cop was like, aha, I got you. Guess what? I got that case tossed.
Unreasonable search and seizure.
Yes. Because after even the judge was on board. He was like, he's guilty. I see that. And he's at fault. But you're more at fault for violating the Fourth Amendment of our Constitution, which says after like an hour,
you should stop searching.
Yeah, there was case law that said like an hour was too much, and there was another one that said an hour and a half was too much. Ours was 2.5 or 2 hours and 45 minutes too much. So yes, the cop's gut was right, but you have to follow the law even if your gut is right. So when they saw Mangione, you're like, we know that that's a guy. Pause. If you know that's a guy, you've got to contain the situation and handle it right. If you knew it was the guy, why did you do all these haphazard things?
Right. Don't pollute the crime
scene. The guy said, I'm 100% positive. Then why didn't you do everything according to protocol?
So pull out the book and go procedure by procedure. Guys, stand them over there. I got to read you something. Can I read you something? Do you understand what I just read you? All of that.
If they didn't know who he was, I would say different story. Now I would quarterback them and I'd say, you know what? They didn't know. They didn't know it was that serious. They didn't know. But they knew. They said, this is the guy with the bushy eyebrows. So gentlemen, Altoona police, if you knew this was the biggest notorious killer in the United States, why didn't you follow protocol?
Now, do we know for a fact they didn't do Miranda?
Yes, because the guy covered up and said, maybe we should be giving Miranda at this point in time. It's in the motion. Wow. Karen Agnifico filed it with her husband, Mark. Wow. These are the same people who are representing Puff Daddy, by the way.
Had they just read 6-7 sentences of Miranda rights, none of this would be an issue.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And actually, if, it's funny, if Mangione didn't even say anything, I'm wondering, like, if he was coy with them and just looked at them and didn't say anything, it'd be very difficult to arrest him.
I mean, he's a
even
smart
if he didn't
guy.
Even if he didn't pull down his mask, I would have said, I'm not pulling down my mask. I'm cold. Or I don't want to catch what you have. What are you going to do? He can't lift up the hat. That would be technically violating his rights. I would argue that's a search and seizure, or it's a seizure of
just lifting the beanie up.
It's a search.
But
It's a search.
But is it reasonable?
I don't know. You'd have to take that to the judge, and they litigate it. These are things that lawyers do.
Yeah.
We litigate what's reasonable. We go find case law.
Yeah.
Oh, in this case, they said it was reasonable for a cop to flick somebody's hat off. And then you use that, say, well, it's reasonable in that case, therefore it should be reasonable. But these are protocols that we all need to follow. And as a lawyer, I'm watching these protocols.
So this was the hearing, right? It was just an evidentiary suppression hearing on is it just the contents of the back?
Yes.
Essentially?
Yes.
How did the hearing go?
It finished on the 18th.
Okay.
The judge is going to take it up on matters, and he will be decided, I believe, in next year sometime.
Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of time. Well, I mean, we're weeks away from next year. So,
yes. I think it's going to be decided sometime in February and March of next year, from what I'm understanding. So
where that judge is going to have to rule, do I suppress everything in the back? That's a tough ruling, man. Well, that's a tough ruling.
Well,
I mean, you could go letter of the Constitution and just rule it, but morally, that's got to weigh on you.
Well, you're supposed to do things.
You're supposed to not.
You're supposed to you're supposed to be a strict constitutionalist when you're a judge. That means you do things by the letter of the law. But there's a spirit of the law.
Right.
But you have to follow the letter of the law. So what he's going to do realistically, This is how judges work, people. They're going to get the motion and go, oh my God, do I let this guy go? I got to let him go, but how do I do that? The world's going to kill me. I got to go talk to another judge. Calls presiding judge so-and-so, who's like an 85-year-old judge. Judge Johnson, I got an issue. You know, I got this.
We got that pesky Fourth Amendment issue again.
I got the Mangione case. I know how you feel, RJ. I know that's a tough one, but you got to let this one go. Really?
Well,
yeah.
Suppress the backpack.
So he's going to talk to other judges who are going to concur with him, and they're going to tell him what to do.
And then most likely and they're
going to go along with that consensus.
In your professional opinion, you think there's a chance that they will abide by the Fourth Amendment and suppress this backpack? You think there's a chance?
No.
They're not going to suppress the backpack?
They should, but they won't.
You don't think they will?
No, I'm
the reality
cynical.
of life.
You're asking a cynical person. Is the government going to do?
You've been doing this many decades.
Is the government going to do the right thing and suppress it? They should. Are they going to? I don't think so.
Yeah, but they can't just get away with that. On appeal, it'll be thrown out.
Yeah, but you know what? The judge will think in the back of his mind, it'll take 20 years to get to appeal. I'm okay with that.
Really, 20 years?
14.
Really?
10. Fastest on express.
This is a death penalty case. It's going to be fast.
I'll say this about the death penalty. All right. The death penalty is reserved for the worst of the worst people on the planet, not for a single murderer. It would be, think of Jeffrey Dahmer. Think of a serial rapist murderer. Think of a child killer.
Yeah.
Think of the Ramirez, who was it? The Night Stalker in California.
Richard Ramirez.
Charles Manson even wouldn't qualify because he didn't personally he didn't kill him personally. He had his lackeys do it. But it's got to be something where it rises to that level of society's done with you.
Moral depravity at a higher level. Whereas this guy is some kind of a street justice character, Mangione.
This is not somebody that's not rehabilitatable.
He's a vigilante.
This is somebody that he didn't do it for, this is why they're going to get it dismissed. This is why. They're saying it's not terrorism. They're saying it's not terrorism as an overcharge.
It's not terrorism.
That's right.
It's anger at the healthcare system.
That's right.
It's anger at healthcare.
But they're saying it's terrorism because it's a systematic attack on the system, but that's not what the statute's made for. I think they're going to get the charges dropped.
Which is reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more question on this. If this gets suppressed.
Yes.
What do you do as the prosecution now? You've got Mangione.
They could appeal it.
You just don't. Well, we'll say it's gone. Say you don't have the backpack.
Okay.
And you got to prosecute this kid.
Okay.
How do you prosecute him without the backpack?
Okay. So if I was a prosecutor, I would show the timeline, show his body, his face shooting Brian Thompson, getting in the car, getting from a bicycle, running from the bicycle to the car. I remember he was there 4 o'clock in the morning, drinking Starbucks, waiting in front of the hotel. I would tell him, why is he there? Why is he waiting? And all of a sudden, somebody appears wearing the same exact clothes. And all of a sudden, Brian dies. Same exact person is in that cab. Look at the eyebrows. Look at his eyebrows. Do they look the same? And then he gets caught in Altoona. Same person. Why was he there?
What if the jury asks, when he was caught, was there anything with him?
The judge will instruct them not to worry about that. That is not for your concern.
What? Come on, but that sounds so crazy.
The judge will instruct the jury. If you are selected to this jury, will you follow instructions, even if it's something that you don't agree with, even if it doesn't sit well with you? Can you do that? Yes, I can.
So somehow they're going to instruct the jury without biasing it that he was caught there.
Yeah.
We can't tell you what he had with him.
That's right.
But
no. They won't even say that.
They can't say that.
They won't say that.
Because that biases it already.
No, this is how it's going to look. So this is the opening statement from the prosecution. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Brian Thompson got killed on this and this and this date. You will hear testimony that Mr. Mangione was in the area. He was in Starbucks first. Then he was in front wearing the same clothes. And you're going to decide whether or not that he looks like him, the same clothes. Shooting this person, then you see him in the bicycle, then you see him in the car. You are going to decide whether or not this is the same person.
But okay, so the prosecution cannot allude to the existence of a backpack.
They'll only go in. He was caught at the McDonald's in Altoona.
But can the jury have questions?
No.
Like, hey, there was backpacks in every picture. Where's the backpack?
That'll be sanitized.
But
you know what I mean by sanitized? It'll be
wiped away.
Yeah, it'll be cloned away, blurred out.
But if the head of the jury can ask that?
No, because they won't know what to ask. They're just going to see blurry pictures. They're going to say, don't worry about what he had on him. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant. They could block it out. They could sanitize it. Just like
could there be someone who's curious as to what happened to the backpack?
They won't know about the backpack.
It's in all the pictures.
So
So if I'm a juror, I'm like, what do you do with the backpack?
you won't be a juror because you know too much about it, Tony. I'll pick somebody that
By the
knows
way,
nothing about the case.
how are they going to find anyone
They will.
that knows nothing about?
Oh, they found stuff for those high-profile cases. They'll do it all the time. There's always somebody living in a rock. Somebody that
They'll just dig up 12 people under a rock.
Yep. 12 people that don't watch the news, don't know anything about anything. Like, oh, I didn't know about this. And like, where you guys been? Like, where you guys live? But we want those kinds of jurors, the ones that live under a rock.
And then you and I will be sitting there watching the trial, knowing full well, and all our listeners knowing full well,
right,
that there was a 9mm,
right,
and a silencer,
right,
and a manifesto,
right.
Ugh.
That's why I don't think the judge is going to do it. I don't think the judge is going to do it.
It's almost
because I think
not practical.
Because if the judge does it politically, there'll be people picking in front of his house. R.J. Medway and the judge let all this evidence go.
Yeah, but the truth is,
the judge doesn't
as
want
sad
that.
as this is, as a society, I think a majority of people back Mangione on this one.
That's another reason
And
why I
that's
think
sad.
that's another reason why I think the judge is going to have to be very careful about this. There's a lot of a lot of eyes watching this. There's a lot of pressure for him to do certain things.
Yeah.
And judges do that all the time. In my opinion, judges kowtow to public pressure.
Right. But don't you think the public pressure would be to suppress? I mean, just because people people hate healthcare so much?
There'd be pressure from the law enforcement across the country
to show the evidence. Yeah.
So are you
And then-
kidding?
But the public would want it suppressed, or like at least the fangirls.
the law enforcement would not take upon that very kindly.
Right.
And that judge would be looked frowned upon by all law enforcement across the country, all prosecutors in the country. He would be.
Well, they shouldn't have effed up then.
That's a good point. The judge would say that, but guess what? That judge is going to live in that darkness for a long time. He's the judge known for throwing out the evidence against Mangione, and if Mangione is found not guilty, guess whose fault it's going to be?
Yeah, it'll be that fourth.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be Altoona first, and then the judge.
Yeah. Do you think that judge wants to be the judge known for getting Mangione off?
Right.
I want everybody to Google intellectual dishonesty when you get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible 2 words. You know what intellectual dishonesty is?
No, tell me.
It's jamming a legal peg, a square peg in a round hole. So even though, like, for example, years ago, the Supreme Court convinced all of us in Plessy versus Ferguson that black people are separate, but they're equal.
Right.
And they wrote a beautiful intellectual argument about why that's true.
Right.
And for hundreds of years,
not that long.
I mean, for 100 years or whatever it was, for a long time.
We went along with it.
We went along with it.
As a society.
We went along and we believed everything those Supreme Court judges said were accurate.
Right.
That's called intellectual dishonesty.
Right.
That was the most intellectually dishonest opinion ever written by a Supreme Court.
You don't think they believed it at the time, honestly?
No. Okay. I think they made the rules around what they wanted to.
Because that's what was feasible in society.
That's right.
There was too much racism.
Yeah.
There was already segregation, and they didn't know how to undo that.
And I don't care if judges are going to look at my podcast right now and go, I can't believe
Well, years later, it's a self-correcting mechanism, and it's always slower than we want. It took decades until Plessy was overturned, and then we went, no, it's not separate but equal. It's just equal.
I still think it's going on.
Maybe in the outskirts of some southern podunk town.
Even like just in my cases that I have now, I have a great self-defense case, or I have a whatever case. The judge finds a way to argue against me and find these little loopholes in the law.
So they have enough freedom to maneuver within the rules.
Are you kidding me? Right. The judges can manipulate till the cows go home.
So somehow they could find that this wasn't a unreasonable search. They'll just say, hey, we get that it's a Fourth Amendment concern, but it was reasonable given the scenario.
A judge could...
It's the word reasonable. All you got to do is say reasonable.
A judge could tip the scale, in my opinion, towards guilt or innocence based on how he feels about the evidence.
Right.
So if the judge, like, let's just say I'm a judge and I think you're not guilty, all right, I'm going to finagle it so that you could be found not guilty with my words, with my statements.
You're gonna lean it to that direction in subtle little ways here and there.
Yes, yeah. I'm the ringmaster of this circus.
Right, you're the MC.
I'm the MC. Yeah. I'm controlling it. Yeah, and if I don't have you testify, I probably know that's not good for him. If I don't have you testify, maybe it's good for you. So I control everything.
Got it.
So look, I'm going to get heat from this from judges, but every single time I've had a case where I've said the cops have planted evidence against my client and violated rights. Every single judge is against me right away.
They scowl at that, right? They're like,
scowl.
Oh, this again? You tell me my boys in blue did that? They didn't do that.
You know what I have to do to push back on the government until the judge is like, oh my God, maybe this did happen. And then when the judge finally sees that it's possible it happens. I see a complete change in his demeanor. Oh, Mr. Manuel, I think you should get that document. Mr. Prosecutor, he has a right to that document. And you know what? I think I'm going to put this in sua sponte, in my own motion. I'm going to make this happen.
So they're really on your side at that point.
All of a sudden, it went from thunderstorming to like beautiful weather in this country. What happened?
Well, I think because a judge more than anyone else probably hates a police officer who plants evidence.
Yes, but what I'm telling you,
such a miscarriage of the
justice. What I'm telling you is
system.
it's hard to convince these judges.
Right.
And once a judge makes up his mind, he'll do what he needs to do to justify it.
To get there.
To justify, to get there. Like,
yeah.
oh, I want Tony to go to jail. How do I do that?
Okay, if I can't get him on this,
Right.
there's that. And if I can combine
Right.
those,
Right.
then I can bootstrap it up to that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
and
it.
I've seen
I
judges
get
do
it.
the opposite. I've seen great judges and turn around and like find things to get him out. The judge thinks in her head, I'm going to make sure this guy doesn't go to prison because I like this defendant. Right. And she thinks, well, you know what, Mr. Prosecutor, have you ever thought about the fact that he's got excellent community service? And did you read the letters?
Right.
And did you take a look at his psych report? Because I was very moved by that, Mr. Prosecutor.
Right.
Now watch. Now I'm a judge that doesn't want to do it. Well, I'm not really swayed by these reports. And I
You're putting your finger on the scale already.
And I kind of understand the prosecution's argument about the threat to society, Mr. Manuelian. So I really am not convinced with your argument. Do you see how I just switched?
Of course.
Like with my brain, I can easily switch. If I want you to go to prison, this is what I'm going to say.
You're the conductor. You could play this a little louder, play that a little more mute.
And you know what that's called in law? Discretion. Mm-hmm. Basically, I do what I want to do within the bounds of the law.
Well, put good judges in place and that won't be an issue.
Well, that's the key.
Yeah, put good judges.
Good blood. We need good blood. We
Great
need
judges, yeah.
Well, you know what's more important than an intellectual judge, in my opinion? That's important, but temperament is important. Because you could have a really smart judge. If a guy's a jerk, I don't want that judge. Because then it's heated up and he could be smart, but then he throws you away for a long time.
Right.
I need a calm, cool, and collective judge,
Yeah.
Zen judge, to say, okay, what's going on?
Right.
You know, and look at the four corners and not just do what any other judge would do. But Tony, there's not a lot of
But that's actually hard to do, right?
Sure.
It's a lot. You got to be such a centered human being, like such a centered guy, girl, man, woman.
Non-jaded. You can't get jaded.
Non-jaded. Maybe your family shouldn't have been too involved in too many things.
Right.
You're just this like pure blank slate where you could really just take into the legal concerns, the societal concerns, the ethical, the moral, and blend it all into one and make the right decision. It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard. So we'll see what happens with Mangione, but it's safe to say this kid's case just got a lot better.
No, it didn't get a lot better yet.
We need to see how the suppression hearing goes.
I would say that Mangione has hope.
Yeah.
And that's very rare considering that there's everything against him right now. So if they throw out the McDonald's evidence, it turns into maybe he did it, maybe he didn't do it. We don't know, right?
Imagine flash forward a couple years from now, he's out free. You know what he's going to be wearing?
Free Luigi
A
Mangione.
t-shirt. What's Luigi himself going to be wearing? It's going to be a white t-shirt that says, I heart Altoona.
Oh, I love Altoona.
I think so. He's going to owe his life to Altoona if he gets off.
That'd be funny. I think he goes off into the wilderness and we never hear from him again if he wins this case. Maybe some interviews, 60 Minutes or something, and that's going to happen anyway, even if he's found guilty.
Yeah.
He's going to give these interviews. But getting back to Altoona, we'll sum it up like this. We'll conclude. The crux of the evidence is in Altoona. If there was a cookie jar
It's in that bag.
and cookies, that's the cookie jar is the bag, and the cookies are inside that bag.
Right. So you suppress that.
You suppress that. All you got is a movie with a trailer of something going on, like a movie trailer. Did somebody get shot? Did somebody get killed? Who did it? It's a lot harder to prove.
A lot harder.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.